Hi there everybody, and welcome to Basic Build 2 Mould Challenge. This Basic Build 2 Mould Challenge has come about from one of my viewers who said, I've got these 2 moulds, what can I build from them? So I'm going to build something just using these 2 moulds and balsa wood. So the 2 moulds that we have is the brick section in stretcher bond. And this is what you actually get out of it, a brick section, 2 pier ends, and the plain slate mould, and you get little slates out of it. So they're the 2 items we got to work with. There will be balsa wood and other little bits and pieces involved in the build, but that's here and there. Now what I've decided to build is this. Now this particular one is a mini art production, and it is a European barn, and I'm not going to copy it down to the last detail for the simple reason is they'll probably do me for copyrights of some shape, size or description. So I'm going to alter it around and make it more usable. Now to me this is just a box with a door, and that is it. It can't be used for anything else but to put on a diorama as a small barn. You can't put things in it. It's totally impractical for a diorama build, to me anyway. So I'm going to change this around a little bit. We're still going to build the barn as it is, size, 2 ends, roof, back, but the front we're going to do a little bit of reshaping, should we say. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put in 2 large barn doors at the front, like so. Now putting in 2 large barn doors means that we've got when both doors are open, we've got a larger space. We can use the interior. You can put animals in there if you want. It's totally up to you, but to me it's going to be a little bit more practical on a small diorama. Vehicle could go into it, ammunition, soldiers, sleeping, shooting from it. There's loads and loads of possibilities. So that's going to be my little build, and we're going to go through it from the footings upwards. I shall run through everything that I'm doing, how to assemble it, how to put the guttering on, the tiles, everything, and hopefully we'll have something smart at the end of the build. So that's what we're going to do. So without no further ado, we will get on and get this job on the go. Okay, right, once you've cast all your parts, I've got all my parts cast here, as you can see, so we'll put them to one side. Tools you actually need to make this little building. As you can see, I've got a plain white ceramic tile. This is 600 by 300. I picked this up from B&Q. Actually, I picked a pack up for about £10 to do my worktops, and this is a spare one. But you can pick up the 300 by 300, and I think they're about £2.50. They're not mega bucks. The reason for ceramic tile, it's nice and flat, guaranteed it's going to be level. Also, using PVA don't like sticking to the ceramic tile, so it's easy cleaned and you don't actually stick your building down and you can't get it off. Now also what I've got on here is a roofing square. These are very cheap as well. I think this one was about £3, and I think I got it off eBay. Very cheap, but it's essential really for doing buildings. Why, he asks. Why? Well, the simple reason is when we are constructing our buildings, not that one, that was no good, that one was okay. When we're constructing buildings, if we use that like that, we can be guaranteed that we've got a right angle and it's going to be nice and plumb. So we can glue that together, leave that to dry, and we know that we've got a right angle. So you can do 4 corners of a house, join them together, and you know they're all going to be true. So that's the reason why we use the square. And also, using the square, you can actually make 2 at a time. Use the outside of the square and the inside of the square, like so, like that. So they can be used to make 2 up at a time. You can glue them up, leave them to dry for an hour, and then carry on with your build. So that's basically the layout of what you need for construction. Tools, pen, pencil, sanding stick, doesn't have to be a sanding stick, can be a piece of sandpaper. Excuse me. A steel rule just for measuring off different bits and pieces. Another square. I normally use this just to make sure things are plumb while they're drying. Simple as that. Bit of masking tape just to stick things together. A few pegs as well, just to hold things together. Pair of cutters, a scalpel or your modelling knife, and you must forget PVA and a paintbrush. Not many tools. I think most people have got most of this stuff kicking around if you're doing any type of modelling. So it's very basic tools for a very basic build. So I'm going to get squared up. I'll put you on pause. I'll get squared up and then we'll get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create, well, 2 corners we need to start off with. And as this is going to be rendered, I'm going to be using my mould clean, which I use to clean my moulds out with, because we're going to be covering this with render, so it's not going to be important that they need to be coloured. The one thing I will point out though, as if you've not already picked up on it, on these teeth where they interlock, they've actually got the mortar joint on one side of it all the way down. Now it's very easy to actually lock them together and have the 2 mortar joints on top of each other, which then makes the joint at the top here dry. So when you're putting them together, just check that they're around the right way, that all the mortar joints are facing one way and you've got an equal gap all the way down. Right, all we're going to do is very simple, like I explained to you a bit before. We're going to create 2 corners. Now we're going to glue these together. Very simple. PVA glue, paintbrush, and we're just going to put, oh, we're not using a PVA glue in these corners all the way down, like so. This is going to be a boring video because I'm going to show you everything, so it's nice and easy for everybody. Same on this side. Put a bit of glue all the way down. Now as I want to, I'm going to use the outside as well of my square, and we literally just lock them together using the square. Now you can just get a tape and make sure it's all nicely pushed together. Piece of tape across the top, if it will stick, which it won't. We're going to go for it. We're just going to leave it pushed in there nice and tight. Run the brush up on the inside, and that's our first one. As you can see, I won't move the camera, I'll try and move the board. Now it's tight against that side and tight against that side, and the joint is tight all the way up. Now if I put my square against that, that should come plumb, which it does. And the same on the inside, I can use that metal and that comes in plumb. I'll push that out now. So that creates your corner. Now we do exactly the same again with this one, checking to make sure that the brick joints, the mortar joints are all facing the same way. I don't think the camera's going to focus on that, but all the brick joints are all facing the right way, because if you get it round the wrong way, if we do it that way, when you push them together, you've got a tight joint and then you've got a large joint. It's not so critical on this when we're doing rendering up, because you're not going to see it, but it's critical when you're actually doing your brickwork and you want nice, neat, tidy brickwork. It will show up. So that is just one thing to remember as we're going along. So I'm just checking on that. I've got that up the wrong way. So that's okay. So we'll do the same on this one. Glue on that one. And some glue on this one. Don't be scared of using the glue. And then we'll push them together. Using the inside of our square again. Make sure all nice and tight. And then paintbrush up on the inside, just to get rid of the excess. There we go. I mean, if you wanted to, you could always push a few bits and pieces up in the inside there, a bit of weight, just to hold it, like so. Now we're going to leave that for a good half an hour. So while they're drying, I'm going to go off and have a cup of tea, and I'll be back in a minute. Right, these two corners have been dry, and actually I've had 2 cups of tea, so I hope you forgive me for that. But we'll just pull them out, and we've got 2 corners ready to be assembled. Now I should put them to one side for a second, and what I'm actually going to do now is we're going to use a little bit of cling film, because we need to create a floor to hold everything together, because we haven't got a base for this. So I'm just going to lay this piece of cling film over the top, like so, and we're going to put the first corner in there, and this is going to be the second corner, and this is actually going to make our barn. Now, to make the floor, I'm going to be using some of the brick sections, and we're going to have a brick style floor on it. So first things first, we need to join these 2 together, and wherever my little brush is. So we do exactly the same as what we did with the corners. We just put plenty of glue in these teeth. All the way down. The same on here, put a little bit in there, just to make sure we get a nice tight fix, and we just join them 2 up like so, and make sure we push that against the back. Now, to actually make the floor, what we're going to do is we're just going to trim them teeth off one side, and by rights that then should fit, 2 of them should fit across the bottom. So I'm just going to trim them off. Now all we do is just get a pair of clippers, and we'll just clip the teeth off like that. Nothing too mad. And sanding stick, we will give it a little bit of a sand. So that will be your first piece that goes in, and we'll do exactly the same, making sure we've got it round the right way. Yeah. Facing up, they're facing up. Yep. So we're going to do exactly the same on this one, is just take them teeth off. Like so. Just use the sander, just take the rough off, and then hopefully, as you can see, it makes a brick floor up. Now what we're going to do, we'll just glue them all in place very, very easily. And that's the reason why I put the cling film down, because there's going to be quite a lot of glue on the edges of these. So we just run the glue all the way around the edge. And the same in the teeth. And we just drop that in there, like so. And the same with this one. Bit of glue on the teeth. On the edges. And we just drop that in place. And then what we do, we just push it all up together, just to make sure that's all nice and square. Using your edge to make sure the back edge is square, and that will be okay. A little bit of water just to get rid of this glue, especially down the middle of the floor, because we don't want to see that. Around the edges we're not really bothered about, because we're going to be covering that. I will just run round. Right, now I'm going to leave that to dry, because what we will be doing next time, we'll be putting brickwork on the inside, as they didn't normally render up the inside of the buildings. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and I shall be back in a few minutes and we'll carry on with the next bit. Okay, this bit's had about 15-20 minutes to sort of get hardish, because I just want it to be a little bit solid so we can carry on. Now what we need to do now is extend this floor out to the front of the barn. Very simple, is we place a piece in, and on the inside of the teeth we do a mark, very, very easily. A scalpel or your hobby knife, a couple of good scores down it, and that will just snap like so, and that piece will fit in there nicely. I don't know if that will work that way. No, because the teeth are facing down on that one. Mortar joint still facing down. We'll find one. So I'm just trying to use damaged bits up, because I want the best bits for the walls. Yes, that will do. So we do the same on there. Just mark up where the teeth finish on the inside, just a little mark there. That's where we need to cut. I'm going to turn that around for a second, and just score along the line. And that will very simply break. Now, yeah, that's the right way. So we need to take them teeth off, and like I say, very simple, just nip them off with your side cutters. A little bit of a sand just to make it fit nice, and that then should all fit together nicely. Well, he says, hopefully. a little bit tight, so we'll just run a bit more off with the sander, a bit off that end and a tiny bit off that end. And hopefully now that will fit. Perfect. So we need to get these glued in. Just making sure there's no dust and dirt underneath them. Not because of anything else, but if you put a pressure on this and there's a bit of dirt, it will actually break it. So we're going to do exactly the same on that. Some PVA down the edges. All the way around. That's our first piece in. And the same with the second piece. Teeth as well. And just press that in. Close the joints up nice and tight. It looks a bit messy. What's gone on there? I don't know what went wrong there. I can see we had it round the wrong way, so we'll try that again. Try that one again. We had the cut edge towards the flat edge, so let's try that one again. There we go, that's better. So that is done, and all we do is the same thing, a little bit of water and just get rid of the glue, because it's not really going to matter on the floor, for the simple reason is because when you come to weather it, you're going to weather it with stains and things like that, but it's just best to get rid of the excess. Right, I'm going to give that just a few minutes to dry, and then I'll come back and we'll get the front put in, so then we can start doing the actual inside. Right, I'm back with you again now. Making sure that you've actually got the brickwork and the mortar joints around the right way. Now I'm roughly going to make this opening, we'll come out about 4 bricks to that point there. 4 bricks. Now by rights you should be able to slide that one along and it should fit straight into that one with the mortar joints facing down, which it is. So we're going to come out 4 bricks with that one, and that's going to be our 2 cuts. This is very simple as well, cutting down the bricks. If you use a steel rule, place it on there, and the bricks are in line, so you're going to be cutting down the joint all the way down, and simply do the same as what we did along the joint. Is go all the way down, give it a good couple of scores like so, and that should break nicely after he's wrecking the place. So that's that end done. Exactly the same for this end. Just score that down. Like so. And that is that end done. Now that's given us quite a wide opening, but by the time we get the actual barn door frame in, it's going to narrow it down, but that then gives you a nice view because you can have the doors open, you better see into the barn, you better get soldiers, vehicles, anything you want in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to get these glued in, no different to what we've been doing, and that's glue all the way down the teeth. Plenty of it. And a good bit across the bottom as well. And then just fit that all together like that. And we do the same this end. And nice big blob on the inside. Push that all together nice and tight. Use your paintbrush. Take off the excess. Like so. Now if that was going to be brickwork facing outwards, we would get some water and wash it off, but this is all going to be rendered and it's going to have brick corners on, so I'm not too fussy, but I'm a little bit fussy about the inside. Just make sure that the corners are all ran up, and when you've got it to that stage, then you can just check, and as you can see, it's all nice and plumb and square as well, so makes life a lot easier. It's starting off with a square base. Right, I'm going to leave that now for about an hour. I'm going to disappear off and do some other bits and pieces I've got to do, and then we'll come back and we shall carry on with the inside. Okay, it's had a little bit of time to dry, and now we sort of move on to the inside. Now we need to put some internal brickwork in, so all I'm going to do is use a full section, and I'm going to cut all the teeth off, but I'm going to do it over this side this time. So I'll just cut all the teeth off like so. Sanding stick, a little bit of a clean up, and hopefully they should fit in there. I've got another one here without the teeth on. And that one will fit on the inside there. Now we're just going to glue them in. The same stuff, PVA, and I've lost my paintbrush somewhere. No, I haven't, it's up there. Right, so plenty of PVA on the back. Down the sides and along the bottom. And then we're just going to slide that back in, press it down, and this is where a couple of your little pegs come in useful, just to hold it in place. And we do the same on that side. You're better off just splodging your glue on the back because it will push itself out along the sides and along the bottom as well, because that will fix the floor to the walls. And exactly the same. And we'll get another couple of pegs just to hold it. Mind you, we've got a big clamp there. Let's put that clamp on, that will take that into the middle. Do the same with that one. Right, that's that bit done. And now we look at the back wall. we're just going to use a full section. Now we're going to put the full section over that joint to make that a bit more stronger. And there's no difference with that. We just blob the glue on the back. Like so. We don't need to put any on the teeth because we're not going to do the join up just yet. Plenty of glue along the bottom because that's going to pull the back in and the floor in together, and just roughly centre it. And if we can find another clamp, which we can, and we'll put another clamp in the middle to hold that in place. Ooh, and we've pulled it off, which ain't too bad because we know it's not stuck to the floor. So then it's just a matter of cleaning it up along the bottom. And a bit of water just to get rid of that excess glue on each side. And now I'm just going to leave that for about another 20 minutes. Just let that go off, and then we come back and we'll do these two pieces here and these two pieces here. Okay, it's had a little while, a bit longer to dry, so we'll take them clamps off there and there. We shall leave that one in the back there for the moment. Now we just need to cut one section for there and one section for there, and it's very easy marked up, and it's on that joint there, which wasn't a bad guess. So all we need to do now is just cut these. Like so. Hoping, yes we have, got them there the right way. That piece should just be able to fit into there nicely. And mark that one up. And that's slightly over, but that won't be too bad. Exactly the same. That one's going to need a little bit of a sand. Right, that one's in there. So we've got the back pieces in. We'll do exactly the same on the front. Yeah, we use that bit. I'm just going to take these, well, I'll take the teeth off on both sides because we don't need them. So I'm doing it this side of me because I've actually got a bucket down here that they fall into. So instead of going all across my bench, all we do is put that in and we just mark it up. Take that mark over the top. That's a shame, it's not going to fall onto a... So we've got a mark top and bottom, and we do exactly the same again. This doesn't have to be too exact because we're going to be putting a frame in, which will be covering most of it. And we're a little bit big. Why is that? Probably because I've gone over the mark there. So we'll get this handy and stick. And just sand a little bit off. A little tiny bit more. These are very easy to sand. You don't need much effort to them. And you can get most things to fit, like we've got that there now. And now we're going to do exactly the same on this side. Place that in. Hopefully I can get my marks just slightly better than I did this last time. Now by the look of it, it's running straight on top of a joint, so that isn't too bad. Then we cut that exactly the same. I'm going to make a mark I can see. Top to bottom. And that piece. And that bit fits exactly. Now I'm just going to glue them in. I don't think I need to bore you too much with the gluing. I think you understand the principle of it all. Different paintbrush this time, a bit bigger. That bit goes into there. And we'll put a clamp on it. And the same this side. We should have another clamp around here. Put a clamp on that one as well. I will do exactly the same on the back and clamp them in. And that's where we're going to leave it, because I've just worked out we're about 30 minutes into this video, and I don't like to make them too long. We will be carrying on, so thank you very much for joining me on this section, and it will carry on the next video.